I need help, boss.
Stands up and says it louder. He goes, I have a really big penis.
We're the NSAA. We're never serious about anything except grip ball.
I have drifted an aircraft carrier.
What?
To an extent, but you'll be out there alone as fuck. There's no.
Just bumping into people by osmosis of dopeness, you know?
3, 2, 1. We're gone.
Welcome, everybody, to the Happy Hoodlums Podcast. It is the mayor of Southeast himself, Mr. Kemper Woodruff, baby, and we have Zachary Sampson and Josh Taylor in the house. The powerful.
Yeehaw!
Yeah, and Josh is stunting on us tonight with his camera angle. Thank you.
Shoot, I can show the angles if you want.
Oh, man, we're just jumping in the deep end this evening. Happy Thanksgiving, boys. How are you guys doing today?
Pretty fucking good, to be honest.
What'd y'all eat?
Weird Thanksgiving, but
Why is it
I
weird?
had lamb and chicken tonight instead of turkey.
yo,
Okay.
I remember when we were on the phone earlier and you said
Mhm.
lamb. I have had lamb. It was lamb. Lamb is amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I ate it like a year ago, but whew,
Mm-hmm.
man.
I'm a huge fan of it, especially like the way my mom cooks it. She'll cut it, stuff it with garlic, and then bake it on like a
That's
rack.
Italian as fuck right there.
On a rack, right? And so she'll have the rosemary branches and everything, so it kind of steams in the rosemary. And
Yeah.
underneath there's a bunch of chopped potatoes and onions. And so as you cook it and all the blood drains down, it gets into like the potatoes so they're nice and soft. And then at the very end, she sprinkles in some like snow peas that'll naturally kind of like cook so they're still crisp. That's why you got to put them in at the end. Otherwise they'd be mushy and it's not the same. So take it out, strip the rosemary into everything and mix it all together. Bro, it's off the chain good.
Yeah. Dude, I like me some good lamb.
Mm-hmm. That's like a
dude, and it's like it's got a nice tenderness to it, bro.
Mm-hmm.
It's different. It's lamb.
I actually like lamb better than prime rib.
Really? I like
Yeah.
ribs.
No, prime rib.
Prime rib though.
Yeah.
Dang. That I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't know if lamb's that good.
I fuck with lamb that hard, bro.
All right. Whatever
But,
suits you, brother.
I don't know why we're just like all of a sudden don't turn on me. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, it's all good.
Yo, but the reason it was a weird Thanksgiving is I mean last year's was kind of weird too. Because my sister was dating this girl and she was hanging out with them for Thanksgiving. So it was just me and my parents last Thanksgiving. Well, this year, it's just me and my dad. Because my mom and sister are still in South Carolina right now. But we normally go out to eat or something and we'll go somewhere after. And it was just weird. Me and my dad just kind of sat at home, watched the show and football. And
Yeah.
but
Super chill.
it was a different Thanksgiving, but
I understand, man. This was my first Thanksgiving like without my dad, and I was like, shit. It made me thankful for the people that I do have in my life, you know. And
Yeah.
so I'm sorry, I'm getting text. 'Cause I
Mute your
decided,
damn phone. Throw it on your bed.
I
Get
decided-
that shit out of here. I'm doing the podcast.
I decided to
motherfucker.
reach out to a lot of people, you know what I mean, and just tell them that I love them. And so
that's good, man. That's good.
they're kind of trickling back in, but I feel like it kind of offsets things. You know what I mean? Like when you get
Yeah.
handed adversity and you choose to go about it in a positive way, you know? And like, although I can accept there's an aspect of my life, you know, and my dad that's missing. It's really cool to see other people at least be happy by just being acknowledged in a genuine way. You know, because someone really sat and was like, "Yo, how did this person affect me in my life?" You know, and even if it wasn't like the biggest thing in the world, like if someone seems like just an acquaintance to you, like why not still acknowledge them? If you got their number in your phone, you know, not like
Yeah.
you have to burn yourself out going through everybody, but you know what I mean? You
Yeah.
just go through some people rather than just like the base level of people that you have to contact, right?
Yeah.
You just go above and beyond. You'd be surprised the way people are just like, wow, you know, blown away by the fact that someone just did something as simple as thought of them.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
I texted my old job. I'm still in a group chat with them, and I mean
yeah,
that was the job. They all pushed me like to go to school and stuff, and so they had a big part of who I am now, basically. And
yeah,
but it was definitely a weird Thanksgiving, but I think a needed one for everybody. You know,
mm.
um, I
See,
think you said that earlier, something like that.
that's a good way to see it.
Um,
You know, a needed one.
yeah,
Uh,
no, definitely. I mean, either if it's from losing your dad or just struggles with money or something. I mean, it was something I think everyone needed company and just kind
yeah,
of like that feeling of relief,
yeah.
that
I
there's
think
more out there and around you.
something that's really kind of blown my mind is how I've talked to so many people, and maybe it's that like attracts like or something, but like it just seems to me that there's something in the air. This past like year has just been so strange, and like I've had so many instances of me hitting somebody up. I remember I actually was texting the other night or like a month ago, but I was like, something's in the air. I'm going the fuck back inside. I'll try again tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like I just felt something weird, and I happened to call one of my friends, and I call my friend, and he goes, "Did you feel it too?" And I was like, what the fuck? Who answers their phone like that? But it was so on the money. He was like, yeah, it's a freaky ass night. And I was like, what? This is crazy, you know? So, and
Oh,
just countless interactions throughout the year where people are experiencing something that's a different cause, but there's like a emotion in the air, a progress point that a lot of people are on.
yeah, for sure, for
Hmm.
sure. Um,
Zach, what's on your mind?
yeah, brother.
um, well, not a whole lot. I'll be honest with you.
Good for you, man.
Like I'm fucking straight, you know?
Glad
Like
you're doing well.
I'm chilling. Like if I told you what I was thinking about, we would be going on some crazy ass journeys. Like
Let's do it. Why are
I'm
fucking
you
ready.
looking back?
it was
Yeah,
completely not even the same fucking topic.
That don't matter. It's for the
Like
people, Zach.
I had this thought earlier and it was mostly about
make it
sleep.
relate.
It was about
Okay, so
sleep.
you had a thought during Thanksgiving. See,
And it was basically I was just thinking about how sleep is like another reality kind of, and it's fucking wild to think about because you go to sleep for 8 hours of your day and you dream shit, but those dreams have subconscious like meanings because it's developed by your subconscious basically, right?
Yeah.
And so in your dream you're living a life that's not yours now and you barely remember it when you wake up. And so it just seems like it's another reality. It's also you can learn fucking lessons from it. Like I've learned shit about myself from dreams. It's fucking wild.
Hmm.
I've literally solved problems that I was having in like my awake world in my dreams.
So something that's really interesting that I read about dreaming was that we're the thought that we're doing it wrong. that when
Okay.
you dream, it's that your body goes into a slumber and that your spirit returns to like that dimension where it's very similar in that it mirrors this, but it's created with the mind.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have something that's like pressing on your mind, and you go to sleep without that burden, you actually you begin to lucid dream, you know? The more
Yeah.
that you work out those memories and experiences that bring about these emotions that you can't deal with in your waking hours, right? It's just too overwhelming, right? That would push you way back. And so your spirit is like, well, check it out. When they go to sleep, I'm going to actually use this time to kind of bring something that's a very either symbolic or just right on the money representation of the experience, in a way where you don't have to physically with your body go through it, but it's the same damn thing, basically.
Yeah. It's fucking wild. And so I was thinking about that earlier today. It's just like, dude, it's a whole fucking another reality. And you have to
Yeah.
go back every night or you die.
Yo, but you require less sleep probably the more that you work through that shit. You know?
Yeah, but
Like,
there comes to a point where it's like if you're not sleeping enough, your brain will just shut down.
well, yeah, there's a balance to everything.
Yeah, so you have to sleep. You have to go back. But I'm not necessarily talking about just like always dreaming, but sleeping is basically just another reality of its own in essence.
hmm
Cuz you're always dreaming, you may just not remember it. Your brain doesn't just turn off.
Do we have
We just
brain
don't remember shit.
activity? Do we have a lot of brain activity while we sleep? Like,
It
It
probably
depends on
depends on
the
the
time of night.
person or the time of night or,
Both. Yeah.
you know.
They've done a lot of like sleep studies. I believe the dude's name was Albert Walker or something like that.
Yeah.
But he wrote a book, I think it's Why We Sleep or something like that. And he goes into a lot about what our brain is doing when we're sleeping throughout different stages of the night. And he was studying about dementia, I believe, and how sleep had direct association with that. But he also talks about how it helps with your hormone regulation and a bunch of just, you know, stuff that's centered around your digestion
Yeah.
and how that all kind of correlates together.
Word.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
dude.
was something. Shout out to Saraswati Hewitt because she was the one that would always mention him in class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, other than that, fucking, I'm chilling. Nothing really pressing on my mind that I want to talk about, you know. Kind of just, I don't know how to explain where I'm at right now, but I'm fucking content.
you're enjoying where you're at.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude.
Big chilling.
Also, shout out to Thanksgiving just as a celebration to munch out. You
Fuck
know,
yeah.
Yeah.
I,
And
I
America.
yeah. That was
Sorry. I mean,
probably
shit,
one of the
dude.
strangest Americas possible. But anyways,
Hey.
just the timing of it. That was awesome. Respect. That's your
Glad to
patriotic
be here. Glad to
duty.
be
All right.
here.
Yeah. Um, but no, I think it's so important to just get together and really eat with one another. That's like such a sacred experience. And as you begin to take better care of your body and stuff and you rest more and your gut kind of balances out, the things that once tasted good don't taste so good anymore. Like you'll just naturally gravitate away from like certain foods. Not to say don't study diet and nutrition or anything, but you just kind of naturally will go in the right direction and be like, no, my body just doesn't want that the way it did.
Yeah.
When it was
Yeah.
probably constantly craving like dopamine rushes and stuff, maybe going back to foods that were worse, but because they're like sweeter or
Yeah.
saltier, or fatter.
Yeah, it's definitely weird for me because I just kind of started my like gym journey, and I'm not like 100% down on the whole like having pre-made meals and stuff, but I've been cracking down on what I'm eating and consuming whatever amount and all that, and it's weird that like on Thanksgiving, everyone's just kind of preaching just pig out, But when
Yeah.
you're in the gym, like when you're on this whole kind of regimen, it's weird to just have that day where you pig out.
Huh.
Fuck
I
that. Unless you're trying to lose weight, don't fucking hold yourself back. You're trying to put on size. Also, your camera's blurry. But you're trying to
Yeah,
put
I
on
know.
fucking size. So why would you be like, oh, I'm going to lock myself into this fucking measured out portion of fucking chicken
It's
when
not
I
like
can
it's
have some
different.
fucking mashed
No,
potatoes, some green beans, and some fucking turkey.
Yeah,
No,
unless
but
you're trying to hit a
it just
weight.
feels
like,
different because you're like thinking about it. Because like when you're like when I was little,
No.
man, if this shit don't unblur. When I was little, like, I'd go over to grandma and grandpa's and, pig out. But now it's like, man, I go and eat this and it's like I don't want it as bad, That's what it
I don't
feels
know.
like.
I
That's why
fucking love eating.
well, yeah, I love
yeah,
eating, but
I'm a food person.
Yeah.
I'm
You'll
sorry,
never
Mike.
catch me being like, I don't want this.
The pie, I'll go back. I'll touch it up. The pie probably touched the pie too much.
Oh, bro, I'm a fucking glutton for sugar, dude. Like when it comes to
That
cake or
is
pie or
bad.
ice cream, I'm fucking all over it. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm selective about pie,
Dude.
but I will fuck up some ice cream.
yeah, same,
Like,
bro.
ice
Oh.
cream, get it.
I got a problem. Ice cream
Right.
could fucking get it.
Yo, dude.
I'll eat a container of ice cream's ass.
If ice cream was a woman, bro, that's a wife. I can-
Dude, sometimes your transitions are so awesome. Like, this black guy right now, I'll beat this ice cream's ass. I'm all like, oh, where's he going with this? You're like, a woman? Well,
It just don't make sense.
don't do it.
does. It does. If you have goals for what your future wife is gonna be like, it's ice cream, bro.
I was 100%
100%.
when I heard like the full thing. I'm just saying at first. I was like, hold up.
You're like, woman.
Oh,
Like,
fuck,
dude.
bro.
It's what it be like, man. You can't find no woman like they're rare, but they ain't like ice cream, They just
Dude,
something about ice cream makes me feel good and makes my
I feel
brain
like
think
they're
good.
not rare. They're just not the 10 girls you've talked to.
I have a random fact
That
about
could be a fact.
That's
Possible. Is that including or discluding my mom?
Well, I mean, okay, if you're including your mom and your sister, 12.
Okay,
Okay.
so
12.
random fun fact about ice cream.
Huh.
Rocky Road is super
Ooh.
famous because it was one of the first flavors that was ever like a mix-in
Are
flavor.
you
shit.
serious?
Yeah. Where
I
people
know
decide like stuff. That's why it was like marshmallows and peanuts. It was some
Wow.
random ass shit, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
But
good.
because last time I was eating it, I was like, this is some random shit to put in ice cream. Like, I wonder how dude came up with this. And I just was like, maybe it's like how if you get now this is how you know I'm a hippie, all right? You get kombuchas, like if you
Mhm.
turn them on the side, they'll generally have like a different like story or something
Yeah.
on the side.
Yeah.
I was like, I wonder if ice cream's got that. So I turned it around. Sure as shit, dryers. That's one of like the things that like brought them notoriety.
Dryers.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, like,
Ice
fucking
cream is
washing
like
your
women.
clothes?
Huh?
Never mind. Ice cream is
The
like women.
dude's
he
last
said.
name was Dryer.
Ice cream is like
Oh.
women.
So
Full of
it's like
surprises.
Dryers is his company.
Gotcha.
Oh man, it's a good
Fuck, bro.
podcast. I say we end it here.
Yeah. Less than 20 minutes in.
It's been solid, man.
Fuck, bro.
What's going on in everyone's mind? Like, I feel like it's been a while. It's only been 2 weeks, but it feels like it's been forever. Like, there had to be something.
There's quite a gap between you being on episodes, maybe like 5 weeks or something, right?
Oh, no. Yeah, it's like 3 or 4.
It was like 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Like a
Because we
month.
missed the 2, and then y'all had 1 last week. So it's like 3.
His last
Yeah.
one was fuck, I don't remember.
With that guy that was out on his balcony or whatever. I don't know his name.
That was a long time ago.
Was it really?
I don't think that was
I don't
it.
know.
Anyways,
what was it?
and whatever.
I don't even watch the podcast.
Watch our podcast? What the fuck,
Heck no.
dude?
Nah, dude.
Yeah.
They don't compare to like Joe Rogan, bro. Sorry.
You barely watch Joe Rogan anyways, motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly my point. I don't watch podcasts.
I've been listening to the Lex
such a
Friedman
legend.
podcast a lot lately.
Yeah. Dude,
Yeah,
I tell you what, the Combat Story podcast is phenomenal.
Ooh, yeah,
I
that's a good one. That one and Two Bears, One Cave.
I haven't checked that out yet, and I'm kind of ashamed because I'm a huge Burt Kreischer fan.
it's pretty
And
fucking
Tom
funny.
Segura is funny too
funny.
because he's like conversationally funny.
Yeah.
So I think him on a
That got me
podcast or
into it.
something.
They just had
Just
Quentin Tarantino on there with Tom
Yeah.
talking about shit. It's pretty fucking
Quentin
funny.
Tarantino's an interesting guy.
He is a fucking interesting dude, and when you hear him talk about shit, it's like, what the fuck? And he has a wild way of explaining stuff. He's all over the place.
He's very free in his
Yeah.
like expression, but very sharp and calculated and like articulate.
Yeah.
His vocabulary is awesome.
he called himself a cool cat in the fucking podcast. I was like, or a
Yeah.
hip cat. Nah, he was like, I'm a hip cat. Or I was a hip cat or something like that.
Yeah.
It was funny.
Dude, that's what I'm saying though. Like, there's certain ways that he talks where, like, when you hear him say it, right? That's like Vincent Vega, you know, in Pulp Fiction,
Yeah.
coming out of him. And you're like, oh, like all these characters in his movies, like there's actually many different aspects when you're talking to this one person because they've helped channel all that, you know? It's like,
Right.
oh, that's that person coming out of him. But the cool thing is, we only know these certain ideas that are like super refined that we call movies, right?
Mhm.
But he's this vastly different person. So it's like he's always way in front of you. So when you talk to someone like Quentin Tarantino, it's got to be like, dude, I can't. You're always one step ahead. You always have a cool answer for something, you know, just kind of an off the wall, different way of expressing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that shit.
I wish I was better at conversation. That's something. That's something that I wish I could improve it. And I'm sure that there's ways.
Yeah.
I know that there's ways, but I'm
You're
just
getting
not
better.
very good.
You're talking to random people on a podcast, so
Yeah,
Well,
but I'm not doing most of the talking. Let's be real here. I'm listening. So that's what I mean.
Yeah,
It's
true.
like I wish I could
I'd be watching these
wish I
clips.
could work on it and shit.
I'd be
Alright,
watching these
whatever.
clips and Zach's just sitting there
Well-
like,
Yeah, bro, I'm listening. I'm like,
I think he's really present, you know? And
yeah,
I'm kind of, I jump on something. Like if I have something that I'm saying, it's like it's burning a hole. You know, I'm like, I gotta fucking do this shit, right?
like I don't
And
think about something to respond to say in response to what you're saying. I'm just
Yeah.
listening to what you're saying.
For me, I'm listening and then I get a thought, bang, right? And I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, place marker that. And then I come back. You know what I mean? And I'm listening the whole time, but I know for a second I was kind of just like, boom, all right, that's where I want to go with this, you know? And it's
Yeah.
almost involuntary. I find that if I exercise and meditate, though, that your mind, if you slow the chatter in your mind, that gets much easier. And I think when I'm truly, really, really calm, like if I didn't need to direct some stuff conversationally, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people are just jumping on it, and I can play that role, right? And I enjoy that more, and I find myself doing it more in my day to day because I like allowing for that pause, that response time. You know what I mean? But otherwise, it's just involuntary. In an overactive mind, you're just gonna go right back to that kind of, oh, I have something to say, rather than
Yeah.
trusting that thought will hit you by the time they're done and allowing them to finish and remaining fully present.
Yeah.
Word.
That's what a good bit of when we first started. I kind of just sat here trying to learn from the people we were having on, and
Hmm.
but
That's interesting.
I
that was a good
also,
bit. Like when we started, yeah.
yeah.
I was like, I know I'm the young little baby Jack, uh, and I'm just gonna sit here and listen. I mean, you guys are older. You have a lot to put out there, so
I think I was just born with something to say.
yeah.
I think you were born with the habit of saying anything.
You're a great. I mean, you're a great talker, bro. Like I could see you like
It
rich
was
businessman giving these big speeches, bro. I
hey,
see it. I see it.
Kemper's the businessman that wants to help everyone. I'm the businessman who wants to help the people who are willing to ask the questions.
And I'm the businessman that just wants to do stuff. I don't care what it is.
I think it's like business is just something to do, like a vehicle, right? But I think like at my core, I feel like I was just born with something to say. But in that sense, I have to learn self mastery by being able to constantly check myself and be more quiet.
Yeah.
It's almost like, yeah, that's my nature, but why is it my nature? Kind of debunking that
Yeah.
should lead me to whatever purpose driven thing that I want, and it'll just come out in the way of a business venture because money is a kind of energy too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the more you're willing and you don't put limits on your mind, you just want to share blessings, just be blessed and bless other people. That whole cycle, if it just revolves around that, you're in this like abundant frequency, right? Where there's no problem with God giving you money because it's money and it's opportunity and it's joy all throughout this kind of process, And the self mastery part is like, it comes back to like the principle of tithing. Um, the whole reason why the church says that you should tithe 10%, it's the honoring of the giver of the gift more than the gift that's given. I was listening to TD Jakes explain this, so I can't take credit for it. But he was basically saying that 10% when you don't have much is easy. When you start getting a lot of like big blessings, big money, that 10%, even though it's still just 10%, looks a lot bigger, you know? And if you weren't faithful over that like beginning phase, right? It's a thing about power. You can't truly be blessed as fully as you could if you were more responsible and truly trustworthy with power, I guess you could say. That's why you get that energy because you have no resistance to it. It just flows through you, and you just, here you go. Oh, I can take this. This fits over here, and it starts being enough where it's like I can take a piece, and you can take a piece off the piece, and you like I have different things. I know where to put this. If you give me money, I know where to put it. You know. And while you're doing that shit, more opportunities just keep coming in.
Yeah, so tithing is actually it's I looked up verse, but tithing's biblical, so it comes out of the Bible. It's actually something that um was going on back then, and it was something that was preached upon. And it's not 10%. It says in the Bible that everything is God's, and the reason we tithe is because we are making the money, but it's also His money. He's the reason for it.
Uh-huh. And that's
But
why, like, the first 10% is basically like if I open a Coke and I give you the first drink, right? Like that's
yeah,
everyone's
yeah,
like
you
that's
get
Yeah,
that
but that's
first
a
good
right?
sip.
I'm I've been trying to hold my tongue, bro. That's a fat scam. Because
Well,
listen, if you open a Coke and I demand you give me the first sip, you're not gonna feel very nice about giving me the first sip, are you? You're not gonna want to.
you're not they don't want you to give if you don't want to give. Like
That's
if you
just
don't
it's
like
weird,
if you
bro.
don't
It's
want to
not the
give,
fact of
people feel like it's a scam because underneath that sentiment of being scam is a thought that is lacking abundance,
It's like,
right?
what the
It's
fuck does God
protecting.
need money for? Fuck that.
He
he
This
doesn't
is
does
for
need
me.
money.
he
I
doesn't,
know,
but
and when you give, it's for you because of the energy that you create. It's like when I give it, there's an inherent understanding that I'm infinite, that I'm trusting that I can get more, that there's more where that came from, and it doesn't just mean money, just in anything.
yeah.
If I give you happiness, I become more abundant in happiness. I realize, oh shit, I gave this to you, but I still have it. I'm getting more. There's more where that came from. And we're sharing this. How? But that's the paradox, like, of this universe. That's the less is more. When you're okay with less, you just start getting more. And like, think about an investor. An investor has less money than someone making the same amount of money but spends it all in the short term, right?
Yeah.
So they're doing the same amount of work. Two people at the same job getting paid the same thing. I might look at you and be like, damn, this person's living the life, right? And it's just because I'm investing right now. I'm taking a little bit out of every bit that I do, and I'm living down here. Even though we're both working the same job, I'm living down here because I'm investing. But one day, that investment comes back in the long run. That opportunity just took a little to kind of ruminate. And some opportunities ruminate quicker. Like if we're just sitting here talking, um, you never know. Someone else, say we're in a lobby somewhere, right? Or a restaurant. You're talking with somebody, and turns out dude over here overhears your conversation and happens to be involved in the exact opportunity or whatever that you're looking for. That's just kind of how life works, and you can paint any subject matter on it. But it's about the frequency behind it. And that's an emotionally driven thing.
Yeah. I mean, with tithing, uh, you also have to think there's people in the church that are taking time to not have a job
But
to
hold on,
spread this message.
bro. What I'm saying is deeper than just in a church. Life,
Yeah.
the whole earth to me is like a church, right? And
Yeah.
in if you do believe in the Bible or if you don't, but in the Bible they say like the people are the church, right? So if I'm out here because God lives in me, right? So I am a holy container, right? This body does contain that spirit. When I'm out, I'm supposed to. If I don't go to church, right, Zach? Say you don't go to church, you just don't believe
He
like that.
doesn't. He doesn't have
Well,
to think about
I'm just saying, if you just think about like taking like 10% of whatever you get and using it to just help other people in
Yeah.
whatever way you see helpful. If you see creating something that's like I don't think it's wrong to invest in something that you do, but I think there's something different when you give it to someone
Yeah.
else. You know?
Yeah. It doesn't have, I mean, churches do donations and go out and do good things, but I mean, you giving someone that's struggling that 10% too, and I mean, it's that's probably what God is telling you to do. So it makes it no different compared to giving a church money to, you know,
Yeah, that's what I'm
give
saying. Like,
someone.
you're just helping.
Yeah.
You're just helping the world. You know, you're
Yeah.
just taking this and saying, "Yo, God, I just want to. I want to help my
Yeah.
community. I want to," and you just do it from that intentional place. I just want to help. Basically, you
Yeah.
can cut it off right there.
And it goes with the point that everything is God's because you're giving someone that was created by God money to help them, and that's the connection. Like everything is God's, even if it has that 10% or not, you know?
Yeah, and you don't have to give 10%. There ain't really
Yeah.
like a perfect thing.
I mean, dude, just
You
saying
know?
hi to someone, having a conversation with them if they're struggling, I mean,
Well, no,
still
think
makes their
about
day or whatever.
like when you give yourself to something, you know, that's way more than any dollar that you can give. So like
Yeah.
when I'm talking about tithing, it's not just in your wallet. It's like 10% of your mind, 10% of your focus and attention, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's a different kind of dedication that is actually like leaving a door cracked for you. Like there's always just enough that door's not gonna close. You got like a fucking shoe that you just left there. That door
Yeah.
closes. Whatever opportunity you want, you give 10% of your attention, emotion, ideas, whatever, and what comes out of that will be really cool in time. You'll pull something out. The interesting thing is it starts to overflow into all other areas of your life, and like abundance. When you truly get like happy, and you're like, oh, but you're not happy because of the catalyst. Like I have things. It's like no, like I feel abundant, right? I feel anything's possible. I wake up, I have vitality. You know, which is I think one of the things Zach has really gone after and pursued with like being in the gym in the way that he has, nutrition and stuff, which I think is super cool. So we just kind of do it in different ways.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, if for you going to the gym and just bettering yourself is like what makes you share more of yourself with the world, then that's kind of accomplishing the same thing. Just don't care to acknowledge it in the similar way or under the same terminology.
I think my philosophy on helping people is dramatically different because, again, I help the people that are willing to ask for it. Because a lot of people have a hard time asking. I grew up around my dad. My dad does not like asking for help at all. And
Neither does
so
mine.
I know when he asks, he actually needs it.
Yeah.
And so for me, I don't want to just go around giving myself to everybody and anybody I walk by because I feel like I need to preserve myself for the people who really need it. Because if I give 10% to everybody and then the one person who really needs it, I don't have the energy for, well then dude, I'm sorry, but I really can't help you as much as you really need help.
Yeah, but I just think when you do that, like you're never given more than you can't really handle. Like you can strategize and figure out a way out of anything. Human beings are incredible.
I feel like there's That's definitely true on some level, but a lot of people get more than they can handle and they just snap. And they never don't make it quite where they were hoping. And
maybe not in this life.
Yeah, but this is the one they're living right now, so no other life matters at the moment.
Well, I'm just saying, like,
you know,
I don't know. If you woke up today, you know what I mean? No matter what state you're in, you're going to go through what you're going to go through today. But what I'm saying is, like, there's going to be times when people call you and it's not going to be convenient for you. But I'm someone who's remained very open for a lot of people, you know, and tried to help a lot of people. And people that sometimes even seem unhelpable, like they're still worth it, you know. And I've never got more calls in one day than I could actually like attend to. I might have been stressed about it, and if it gets to a point where it's overwhelming someday, I might need like a secretary or something, right? But on realistic levels, if you're super broke, you're probably not getting all that many phone calls as is. So that one extra person that might call you, you know, on the random, isn't that big a deal if you do something for them. And that's kind of how life works in a realistic setting, right? Because you probably feel depressed at that point and you're probably isolating yourself and not overextending yourself. And living in that mentality, although it's not an extreme of what I would say greed, you know, but you're not in abundance because you're unwilling to let go and relinquish whatever the fuck thought is so stuck on you that you believe that this is unchangeable, that this is unmovable, that this is not possible. You know, like you got to move that somehow, because it's that feeling of I have to protect this, right? And guardedness that doesn't necessarily, it's not conducive to you getting forward. You can get there but not feel there, you know, because you start living a guarded life for so long, it's really hard to open back up sometimes.
I ain't got nothing to say, man.
I don't know.
You hit the point, brother.
Well, I didn't mean to mic drop this because.
Nah, yeah, you might drop this, bro.
Zack's like, fuck you guys.
No, because I don't necessarily agree, but I don't know how to fucking respond because you make so many layers out of this. It's fucking hard to fucking.
I followed and I agree.
Because it's hard not to agree because what you're saying is at the base level what I believe in, but it's the whole idea of fucking having to fucking like. I believe in giving people what I don't need. Right?
Yeah.
So like, for example, if someone asks for something that I have that I don't need anymore, and I know this person, I care about them, I give it to them without question. I don't ask for anything in return. I'm like, here, just take this. If you need it, actually use it, and that's all I need. Right? I do things like that. But I don't like the fact that you're saying you have to fucking do this for God or fucking God owns everything. I don't fuck with that because it's the same way that when you guys say everything you do is fucking dictated by God, I say fuck that, because what's the point of trying to do anything if God's making your moves for you already? That's fucked up. I do what I do. That's me. I take responsibility for that. No one else gets credit for me. It's all me. Fuck that.
Yeah, but we're all created by God is the thing.
That you can believe that. But God's not playing me on a fucking chessboard. That's
Well,
me.
What if God loved you so much he let you think you into existence using his particles?
I don't give a fuck. That's how I feel.
That's okay, but I'm just
He
saying
doesn't get credit from me. Fuck that.
I built a Voltron.
I will not give credit to someone for what I achieve or for what I do,
Hold on.
regardless.
But did you look at like those pictures of the fucking pillars of the earth shit?
The pillars of creation.
Yeah, and this telescope way out there.
That's literally my wallpaper.
Yeah. So
Well,
how the
not
fuck?
after this.
What made that?
I can't
made
explain it to you, but the only reason you explain it as God is because it's what you can't explain. It's natural causes. It's literally life. I've explained this in the podcast. There are two true things about the universe. Things are created and things die. That's the destiny. That's all you got right now. That is everyone has a predetermined destiny, and that's it. Death. And your part in this universe is to play that. You're supposed to just do what you just do what you do until you die.
What if death is not really like we think it is, though?
Well, then that's great. It's fucking awesome. Whatever it is at the other side, it is what it is. But as of right now, the moment you are in, the physical body you are in, the immediate environment you are in, that's your life. Thinking about what happens after death gets you caught up and distracted, and you can't be in the moment and live the life that you want to live because you're like, I got to do everything that I possibly can right now to make sure that what happens after I die, that I don't even know if it's true that's going to happen, happens.
I don't know, man.
Fuck that. Live your fucking life. Enjoy it. Like, if you want to have a fucking piece of cake and you're on a diet, have a fucking piece of cake and then continue your diet afterwards. Get the fuck out of here with that shit.
I don't think, and this is the funny thing, bro. Like, you you do the same thing back once I get you on a rant like this. You build a fucking Voltron.
Yeah.
Because there's stuff that
you agree with.
The one thing that I'm like, bro,
there's no God in there. Where's the God at, Zack?
By the word God and the concept that there is like all-knowing, unconditional, endless energy, right?
Yeah.
The creation is born out of, and like the universe is just a great fucking example of that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't know, like, to me there's enough there where it's like it just is.
Yeah,
And
literally,
like,
for me, it just is for me. Like, I don't need to have some grandiose idea of what's going on and why things happen the way that they do. They just do. It just is. Like,
but
the thought of God, the idea of it doesn't make me any more comfortable with existence. And that's really what that's there for, is to explain what's going on around you.
I think it's the explanation. It's more like it.
I think most people need it to justify the suck in life. That's what happened. When there was no rain for 6 months somewhere, people were like, well, this is God punishing us. Why else would it be happening? They just didn't know. Right?
Well,
if they someone gets hit by a car because they dropped something in the road, well, God did this for some reason and he's trying to show me something. They're literally they're giving bad shit, like, credit to this dark suck of their life to God because they have no other way of explaining it. It just happens.
I think it's just weird because in some ways, like, there's evil, horrible things, but what if bad things in a strange way aren't bad because the duality must exist in order for there to be free will, so you could choose?
Well, that's not what I'm trying to say. That's not what I'm like. at that point, you're just theorizing something. But people literally look for justifications as to why things suck all the time. And that's why I'm saying most people look to religion and look to God to explain those things. Regardless of if something is bad or good, people can rationalize suck. Like when I say something sucks, you instantly can come up with something in your brain that sucks. Because it sucks.
Like,
you don't think that, oh, it sucks, but it's also kind of good at the same time.
But this is the thing. You run into the same exact point that, like, people use religion as a way of understanding and navigating their emotion based on a set of principles. But a lot of the stuff that you talk about is almost like very Taoist, kind of, in a sense. You know, like things just are what they are. And that's kind of the same thing that a lot of people use religion to contextualize and understand and get to, you know, logically. And that if it is what it is, it's okay if it sucks a little bit, right? Because even if it sucks, like, hey, it's a part of me developing into who I'm supposed to be. And you agree up to that point. But as soon as other people tack on, like, because of a higher purpose, right? That's where you begin to, like, trip up.
Yeah, well, because I hate when people give credit to some, like if someone got hooked on heroin, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's like God didn't do that to them, right? And you can't say like someone's good or bad attitudes or good or bad actions are attributes to God, because that takes the responsibility out of everybody. And at that point, I'm just like, well, we can't hold people responsible because everything that they've ever done is a direct result of what God is making their life.
I think God takes what we do with our free will and uses it for good, but I think there's some, like, soul intentions or like contracts or something where it's like, you know, when you get here, you're going to find this person, right?
Yeah.
And you just recognize them through your spirit, you know, and there's like certain things that aren't going to be missed, you know? And I think they're more almost like intentional and most of the time more vague. You know, like, I want to be a teacher and an uplifter. I want to be a musician. I want to be a whatever, you know? And people kind of go through their life like that. And around that, it's going to be what it's going to be.
It is what it is.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, like, I think sometimes it's almost like everything is and isn't. Like, God is to blame and isn't to blame at the same time. Because if this was designed and created, but he also gave you free will within this creation, then it's like, yeah, I guess, because in terms of linear thinking, like cause and effect, he's the cause of this, right? And all the things that you do separate from that kind of stem back to it. But he's also not, because he let you off the leash and you're going free, just as this like particle that was shot out into the universe. You gotta admit that was actually pretty cool. It was well timed.
Yeah. I think we agree on everything except for the fact that God is responsible for everything.
This is supposed to be Thanksgiving, you fuckhead.
Well, here's the thing. I'm thankful for the fact that I have two friends I can have these types of conversations with. I have religious conversations with Josh at least once a month.
Yes, dude.
When we discuss it and talk about it. And
Yeah.
I think
I'm just not. I'm not so attack. I'm like, yeah, I was like, you talk like.
I'm an
Yeah.
arrogant son of a bitch. sometimes.
Literally, the only time that I'll feel ready to go at religion is when someone starts telling me that God takes credit for everything I've done. For everything that I've achieved with myself. If you give that to somebody else, that's when I draw the fucking line. I'm coming at you. I'm like, no, because this is my life. Fuck that. No one has the fucking. I'm not gonna blame anyone for my suck in life, and I'm not gonna blame anyone or I'm not gonna fucking give credit to anyone for my good shit. Unless you were literally there helping me build it. But fucking because I don't believe in God, he's not here helping me with that. So he can help someone else. I don't need his help.
But if God exists in every fiber of everything,
If he
blame
exists,
yourself.
and I die and I find out I'm wrong, well then I'm fucking wrong and I'll admit it straight to his face. But then he'll probably be like, "Nah, bitch, you're going to hell because I'm a jealous God. The fuck out of here." He's an
What?
asshole too. I'm not gonna hold back. He needs to take responsibility for the shit he's done to people because he's fucked up. He's an asshole.
I don't know.
As much as you think he loves people, he's an asshole.
I don't know. What if it's leading to you being like ultimately empowered and free and liberated?
I
Like
feel
through
that way
your-
already. Because I don't feel so restrained on how I have to live life. I can just live it.
Yeah, but that's what I'm. All right. That's a trick that I do. I gotta catch myself.
Yeah,
I'm like,
bitch. I've been hanging out with you too much. I'm fucking
that's what
dropping
I'm
shit.
saying. I was gonna say that's what I'm saying. No, that's not what I'm saying. All right, motherfucker. I think completely different on that shit. Because I'm like, I think that's a greedy little fucking attitude. I know I ain't made no fucking dirt or any kind of
I-
fucking random shit. I'm just here.
I
You
think
know?
Yeah,
no
okay.
matter
Go ahead, Josh. Go ahead.
I think no matter what, even if you go to church, read the Bible, don't or believe in God, don't believe in God, believe in something, don't believe in anything at all, or you're a bad person or a good person. I think no matter what the fact, I think God uh loves us so much that we're all going to heaven. I mean, if you read the Bible, there's stories of demons being pulled out of hell. Like there's stories of demons like screaming because they want to get out of hell. And
What?
he's pulled them out. This stuff in the Bible, man.
Well, you just
There are stories of
vaguely
demons
quoted
being
that.
there are stories of demons being pulled out. So I think if he even pulls out a demon,
Basically, I
whatever the
think
hell
Josh
he
I
is
wants.
think he
saying,
loves us.
Yeah.
No matter what you choose, if you think he's real or not, or how whatever life you follow, I think you're always. I think everyone ends up in heaven.
Yeah,
look,
because if you're
There
if God,
might be a hell, but I don't think anyone goes to it.
if like God is conscious love, like consciously choosing to love despite all of our fuck ups. You know what I mean? It's like to whatever extent you're unwilling to become that, and see every choice as pure love for the option in the sense that it has to exist. Like, I don't think that these evil things are good things, but they have to exist in order for the possibility of its inverse to exist, And and once you can truly just unconditionally love, then you're able to like go past this experience. I think a lot of motherfuckers got to come back a lot of times, figure all that shit out, and then you go home completely out of this dimension to
I
another.
mean, simply the fact of this being a conversation is just a good thing. I mean, this goes back to like your mental health and just how your brain works, and I mean, it keeps you thinking. So even if you believe or not, or whatever you want to talk about, it's always a good conversation about each other's belief systems and what you follow your life by.
Yeah, man. Like, to be honest, I don't give a fuck about what people believe in. If it makes you feel comfortable with life, believe it. I'm not going to sit here and try and make you believe. I'm not going to try and force you to agree with what I agree with. I'm down to have a conversation about it, but if, believe whatever you want to believe, but if you try and force someone to believe it too, that's also where I draw a line. I'm like, what the fuck? Don't be a weirdo, bro.
Yeah.
I just think that, like, sometimes out of these conversations, right, there's it's like if I really knew that there was some like fuck shit that was gonna happen, right? Or that could possibly happen. Like, and I didn't tell you about it, then it would be whack. But if I give you the truth in a sense, like, yo, this shit exists, whether you call it something else or not. Like if I was to bow on that, I feel like I would truly be doing a disservice. And like this is just my take on what I've learned of life so far, and it's not going to be applicable to everybody. And I think that's the growing point um for me is like, at what point do you just be an example of it? Because in trying to explain it too long, you almost become a contradiction
Yeah.
to it. You know what I mean? On
It's
an
kind of
energetic
like
level.
it's kind of like people always talking about what a good man is. Rather than always talking about what a good man is, be a good man.
I mean,
Type shit.
before that,
Right?
you got to think, what is a man?
All right, shut up, Matt Walsh.
What is a woman?
That was awesome.
I love that guy, man. Matt Walsh is hilarious. That's a man. Matt Walsh.
Yeah, all right, buddy.
I don't
And
know
Joe
who-
Rogan. Joe Rogan, that's a man.
Who's Matt Walsh?
He's
Conservative speaker / influencer. He's about 40 or 50 years old.
Huh.
He's probably 40. He's probably like
he makes documentaries. And
Yeah, he makes
one of his
documentaries.
documentaries was titled What is a Woman? Where he goes and he talks to people on the left or people
not just the
I'm
left,
fucking
people that are,
I'm continuing
hold on,
my
hold on.
sentence.
People that are certified in these things.
That's crazy.
But continue. Sorry.
That's crazy.
You're probably about to say
No,
that.
I want you to explain it now. You
No,
can
I'm
explain
good.
it. No, explain the documentary, Josh. You thought that was the most important thing. No, continue.
You guys, we've had a weird ass podcast for Thanksgiving.
I just wanted to correct you because you said on the left. I mean, some of them were not.
I hadn't
on the
even
left.
finished my sentence.
Okay, I apologize. I will never interrupt
Motherfucker.
you ever again. Okay, master.
God damn it. Now I don't even want to finish explaining it. But anyways. He's talking to people on the left, doctors and shit, people who have gone through transitions and things like that. And
Certified.
he's talking to these people and he's asking them the question, what is a woman? To try and identify how these people feel the way that they feel. And in this documentary, nobody wanted to talk about it. Nobody wanted to like give straight answers. They were always skating around the idea of that. And he even went to like a women's march and asked, what is a woman? And no one would answer him. And so he's hardcore attacking the ideology of the trans community and things like that. And the idea of giving teenagers and prepubescent kids puberty blockers and hormone therapy to go through transitions because, he doesn't think that that's okay. And I agree with that part of like not giving people who haven't even developed their bodies something that basically chemically castrates them. But he attacks it aggressively in he attacks it aggressively in kind of like a religious way. because he's a religious dude, but he also, yeah. So that's where his basis is.
I mean,
But,
it's not
yeah.
even from a religion. He's just asking, what is a woman?
No, I'm not saying that
You know?
specifically is about that, but his basis on top of everything else is he's a religious dude. And so a lot of it comes back to that.
Okay.
I'm not saying that fucking movie, the documentary, was from his
none
religion.
of it comes. No, none of it. Yeah, the documentary. None of it's about religion.
I
It's
know
just-
that. That's what I just said.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely don't think we should be over empowering and over influencing young kids with the ability and priority enough to almost think about it as like a knee jerk reaction to something. But growing up, I knew a couple classmates that I was in like third grade, and there was a couple girls that like knew, actually just one, but like for sure by the time third grade ran around was like, I'm gonna go by this name. And it was just like, this is back in like 1998 before all this. So clearly, since that is a real phenomenon, like I think that we should allow that 100%. But in terms of when we start giving them those things, we don't have to do that until later. Like if you've
Yeah.
never had any kind of like you're just too young, you don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Like you haven't had any kind of life experience.
Yeah.
So when you're that young, it's like, why would we give you the keys to the car that early?
Yeah.
It's a
and
good thing that cars exist, but if you crash this motherfucker really early and just like change your life somehow, in an irrevocable way off of a knee jerk decision that because it was, premature, then no. But yeah, it's like who the fuck cares in a certain extent. I think there's naturally going to be an inverse because, in all honesty, the LGBTQ like movement, right, and a lot of what came behind that, um, was a really hard push. So naturally, there's going to be an equally hard push because it's almost like Newton's law or yin and yang, however you want to fucking explain it. It's just
Yeah.
throughout. There's
As
gonna be
as bad
opposites.
as bad as some of the things sound coming from either side, it always gets to a point where it's like, oh, okay, we understand it, each opinion, and now we're in the middle.
Well, I think
Yeah.
also it's like there needs to be the ability to speak both sides.
Yeah.
So there needs to be if especially if we're allowing this into schools, in
Yeah.
terms of like over educating. There is such thing as over fucking education too soon. There's some shit your brain doesn't need to try and figure out right now.
Yeah.
And we can't get away from the fact that, in terms of like what is a man, what is a woman, like there's the physical definition of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Masculine and feminine energy is different than biological makeup, you know?
I think
That's
the other thing too,
maybe
My-
someday there'll be something that can recreate those organs.
my issue with allowing teens those types of drugs and shit like that is the fact like nowadays you can instantly feel like you fit in if you are in the gay or the LGBTQ community. If you if you come out of the closet, boom, you're instantly accepted. There's so much support for you. And for someone who's lost or maybe doesn't have a lot of friends and they don't know where they fit in the world and they see that happening and they're like, well, that's the best way for me to get some type of support or people to care about me in the world. Like
I never
I would like And they specifically are like offering these things to kids. And if I was if when I was in high school was right now, I would probably be one of those people that would be targeted because I literally had 0 friends in high school. I had nowhere that I fit in. And so it's people like who
What do you
have
mean
no
targeted?
place to be and no friends to be with during school that don't feel like they fit in. They find that in this. And it's taking advantage of kids in a way because it's like,
I see what you're saying.
yeah, it's like, dude, this is fucked up shit because you're going after kids who don't even know where they fit in the world and they don't know who they are, but you think that they're perfect. Not to mention, most of us are fucking stupid at 16. And so it's like, why would you let kids who like make these types of decisions for their bodies? It's fucking wild. And like in Oregon, kids can get these drugs without even having parental consent. Their parents can't say no to it. So it's like it's crazy. It's wild. And so for me it's just like, dude, these kids don't know who they are. It's like, I don't care if you are 18. I don't think you should do it at 18. You should give yourself more time to figure out yourself. But I don't care if you do it after you're 18, as long as you understand, like you go through a really well self-developed plan, right? I think you should make sure that your mental health is in check before you do it, because mental health is huge in making any decision, and this is a decision that you can't really turn back. You know, it's like, I wish people, and I'm sure people have made this decision very strongly, and I know of a person that made this decision later in life, right? You should do that when you're secure in who you are. Regardless, like you should do this when you're in a good place
You
in
should
life.
do that when you're secure rather than to find security.
Yes, exactly. Like
Yeah.
this should be something that you do because this is where your soul is taking you, because that's who you really are, not because you believe that you'll find safety in that decision.
Yeah.
And I feel like people are avoiding that type of conversation because they just want to make sure everyone feels safe and included, but that's also the problem with that, is you're allowing this to happen to people who aren't even mentally capable of understanding their own self, and you think that giving them the one thing that they can't change after they've made the decision is going to fix that. And that's why you see a lot of people committing suicide after they transition still.
I almost, now this sounds kind of like dark in a way, because I don't want to not acknowledge things like suicide and sad stuff that happens behind just the living a harder life,
Yeah.
where you don't feel accepted, regardless of whatever community or thing it is, that's really a huge part of suicide and a huge component in it. Um, so I don't want to downplay that, but I also think like this is just kind of where the evolution of consciousness is right now. And I think souls that are like born into bodies during this time are wanting to navigate a certain aspect of consciousness. And I think that's kind of what like life and death is like, it's a continual river, like, because when I look at people from like a different generation, by the time they're like older, they're like, fuck this shit, I'm ready to get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? Like at a certain point,
Yeah.
like I don't agree with this shit. This wasn't my time. This isn't how life used to be. Right? They've lived this purpose. And so like suicide is incredibly sad and incredibly serious, but I think from the grand scheme, especially if you believe in reincarnation, and just the evolution of your consciousness requires you to experience certain things. you know? Maybe you had to go through that like emotion in order to experience it, and then in your next life or in this life, if you don't wind up killing yourself, right? Um, you experience the opposite of it. So that way you can feel how it feels, say, to be like, this is a clunky example, but like to be betrayed and to be honored, right? So that way you know how both these things feel now. If you are only ever honored or only ever betrayed, how you act in response to that is kind of like almost habit. It's like ignorant in a sense, you know?
Yeah.
You have a choice, but it's really, you don't, because you don't even see it.
It's like
Like the
someone
choice.
who's like super closed off to being in a relationship after being heartbroken a couple, like once or twice. It's like,
Yeah.
well, fuck it. They're all the same, but they've only really been with two people, and those two people really fucked them up. Type shit.
Yeah. And so once you're able to go through both sides of that, now I'm not ignorant. I'm aware of what this construct is, and now I can choose otherwise.
Yeah.
And so maybe for some people it just takes, and they want that experience, even if from the outside looking in and all the people that survive it are like, fuck, that sucks. Like, it's still just their timeline, of their life, and they did what they did. And it's really sad to the people that are left behind sometimes.
Yeah. Life is a crazy one, man.
Yeah, because it sucks when you're not going to see someone again in the physical like that. You know,
Yeah.
like that's the strangest thing about death to me. And trying to like wrap my head around that, because it's, especially when it's so fresh. Like that's gonna be one of those things where like as I get older, I'm gonna be like, damn, bro, because losing people when you're young is like you got a long time left to not be without somebody that's super pivotal to you like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's gonna be an interesting one. But on the flip side, it's like that. It makes you really respect how cool some people are as time passes, like their staying power, as an influence in your life. Um, yeah, it's a lot to think about. But
It is. I think.
all in all, oh, sorry, go on.
No, go ahead.
No, I didn't. I was just
I
gonna
was.
say all.
Okay,
come on.
I was just gonna say that was a good place to fucking end it, but
Yeah.
give us your
I
closing
mean,
thought.
My closing thing was, I was just gonna ask if there was anything that you guys were like overtly grateful for this year, um, just as a little goofy way for us to close this out.
Well, I'm grateful for you guys. You guys are probably the two people that I talk to on a consistent basis the most.
Hey,
I'm thankful for the fact that my grandma came out from Oklahoma for Thanksgiving. I don't get to see her very much, so that was
hey,
really awesome.
hell yeah.
and you still did the podcast,
Yeah. Well,
my man?
she's been here since Monday.
Oh, okay.
So she leaves tomorrow. So we've had time to spend since Saturday actually. Sorry. So we've
Okay.
had time to spend together and stuff like that. And I'm thankful for the rest of my life. I feel like I've got quite a few things going pretty well for me right now. I don't have a whole lot to complain about except for some of the obvious ones. But but I've had enough time to complain about those, so I'm really not even stressed about it.
Mhm. What about you, Josh?
I am thankful for you guys as well. I mean, you guys have been amazing and definitely needed mentors in my life. Um, but I'm thankful for the awkward places life puts you. Because you need those sometimes, you know.
I thought you were gonna say like Tootsie Pops or some shit. The way you paused on, I fuck with it though. Yeah,
Just thinking, bro.
yeah, no, that's a deep ass thought, bro. You like what? Then you just dropped the bomb on my brain, son. I thought you were making something up because you stole Zach's answer.
Well, I think being thankful for your friends is a given, and I think
Oh yeah.
like I say
for
it because
sure.
I said it because I think that it needs to be said.
No, I'm
I
thankful for
I
you as
I mean,
Fuck you,
I'll
Kemper.
go
Fuck you,
ahead and
yeah.
bro. Don't take my
Fuck you,
answer. Get the
bro.
fuck out of
Don't
here.
take my answer. Yeah, dude. Fuck you. I'm thankful for you, Zach. Fuck this guy.
All right, Kemper. What are you thankful for, my guy? What's there for you?
honestly, I'm thankful that this string of like a ton of adversity that's come my way has given me a lot of clarity and shown me a different way that I can live within myself as I begin to kind of balance out uh, working so hard on things with finding worthiness, and in choosing myself, learning to empower myself by being able to surrender the right things that are holding me back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that really just comes down to your attitude, you know? And just that the more quiet you're able to live within yourself, life just gets better and better. And in that way, these huge adversities just gave me a lot of understanding that when you're truly powerful, you can be very calm because it doesn't take near as much effort to overcome these things if you handle yourself correctly as you go through them and work with just um, honestly God's energy, and influence, um, which comes down to the frequency of positivity, you know, choosing to love what you have and love what you don't have for what it shows you.
Love what you
That was a
have.
good podcast, guys.
It was a lot of arguing.
Yes,
We'll
sir.
see who actually gets to the end of it.
I don't think. Look, bro. I've had
Dude,
this
I don't think of
conversation
it
with
as
another
arguing,
friend.
bro.
We can't think of these types of conversations as arguing. It's not arguing. It's debating.
Yeah.
It's discussing the differences in ideas. If you think it's arguing, then you just want to get out of it as soon as possible.
Yeah.
You just
Well,
like
no,
it's not
I'm
arguing.
fucking with some of my thoughts, bro, because I'm the type of person, bro, where I might not think that I'm wrong about some shit. And so to me, at that point, it's not serving to use that word of an argument, but that's what fuck feels like sometimes because I'm like, I'm just trying to teach you some shit. So I'm not fucking giving in on this shit.
I don't need you to teach. I like that. That's the thing, bro.
You
It's
on
just
another
like
podcast and fucking an acid trip and fucking mushroom trip down the road, and you'll be like, I fucking get it, son. What? And I'll be like, I fucking told you.
no.
I couldn't.
I'm gonna be
I
honest.
couldn't go out, not even
Look.
on Thanksgiving, cocksucker.
Hey, motherfucker, this shit right here, this'll knock you on your fucking ass on a fucking
Joey,
Monday. You'll wake up on a Wednesday.
I need to pee really bad.
anyways.
Can we end this?
Yeah, we can end
Yeah,
it. All
out of
right.
here, Junior. I love you.
Peace out, guys.
Happy Thanksgiving, baby. Happy New Year.